Hey Jay, thanks for taking out the time today to talk with us. Before we dive into real estate and all the real estate questions that we go through, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, myself and my wife, Carol Joy, we live here in Eastern North Carolina in a really small town, Morehead City. Morehead City's got 8,000 people. Our total target market's only got 40,000 people. We do 2 to 3 houses a month, but our average profit in this small area is $71,000 profit per deal. So we've been full time since 2003. So we've been in this quite a while,
Yeah,
and so we pretty much dominate this little market.
nice. So, you guys being in that market, what do you guys specialize in?
Yeah, we in this market today, we primarily specialize in buying, rehabbing, and selling. We've rehabbed a little over 450 houses here in the area. Up until a couple of years ago, we probably did half flips and half buy on terms, buy on subject to the existing note, seller financing, and selling on terms on rent to own.
Okay,
But since the market is so hot, I'm probably selling on rent to own or lease purchase only about 20%, and the rest of them are fix and flips.
got it. Okay, and what's your standard fix and flip like in the sense of what are you guys doing to it? Are you guys doing? Is there foundation issues, or are you guys going in and painting the walls, doing the kitchen and bathrooms, painting the exterior, and getting out of it?
Yeah, typically we don't have many foundation issues. If there are, that doesn't run me away. But typically, we take everything that is cosmetic and make it brand new, as in
Okay.
all interior paint, exterior. We have more houses that are vinyl sided or brick veneer than we do wood sided.
Yeah.
And we go in, and if it needs new cabinets, new cabinets. We put granite countertops or butcher block countertops in
Okay.
all of our houses. All of our floor covering now, except the bedrooms, is LVP, luxury vinyl plank. And I mean, that's just sort of taken over the market the last 2 or 3 years.
100%.
And so when it comes to our homes that we're getting ready to market, we want them to look brand new inside and out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go back a little bit. How have you guys been able to do that in, so many homes, getting 400, close to 500? How have you been able to structure the team, and what does the team kind of look like to
Yeah.
make that happen?
Sure. So I have an amazing team, obviously, for me to only work in the business less than 10 hours per week. I'm sort of like the orchestra director. I only have 3 full-time employees on W-2,
Oh,
if you
that's
can
nice.
imagine. Everybody else is 1099. So here's what it looks like. I've got a full-time bookkeeper and office manager. She's one and the same person. Her name's Brenda. She's been with us since 2011. So she's been there a long time. I then have a full time personal assistant, and the personal assistant does everything from convincing people like Peter McKernan to invite me on their podcast to, scheduling my appointments. I have my own podcast with amazing guests. She's in charge of getting everybody booked on that. I coach other real estate investors. She assists me in that as well. I have a full time acquisitionist that talks initially with all of our potential sellers,
Okay.
off market sellers, because by and large, most of the houses we buy today obviously are off market
Yeah.
houses for sale by owners because there's nothing in the multiple listing service, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that's the W-2s. I use a lot of virtual assistants.
Okay.
I have, one virtual assistant that is responsible for all my Facebook ads. I have another virtual assistant that's responsible for all of my Google ads. These are ads that are looking for motivated sellers, right? Um, And then I have another assistant that goes to the courthouse twice a week and updates all the foreclosure files, because I've got a foreclosure system with 8 sequential letters. We track every notice of default foreclosure in our county. Prior to COVID, 25% of our business were people that in foreclosure but had not gone to sale. So we know how to get up with these owners that are in distress and bring them solutions before their homes go to sale. And then on top of that, I've got 2 crew leaders for rehabbing. They're on 1099. And then I also have 2 other general contractors, obviously on 1099. So at any given time, I can have 2, 4, 6 houses being rehabbed simultaneously.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. And your guys' foreclosure, how long does that usually take? Let's say they did go into foreclosure. Is that, I mean, for here in California where I'm at, it can take anywhere from about, the shortest time is 6 months, but ultimately it can take about a year.
Sure. Yeah, it's a much quicker time here, except for those sales that are postponed, and a
Hmm.
lot of sales do get postponed. But the regular time frame is from the time of the notice of default. 4 weeks after that, there's a hearing, and that hearing is performed by the clerk of court to determine if the lender or mortgage company has the legal right to foreclose. The hearing takes place about a month after the notice. And then after the hearing, the sale is scheduled about 6 weeks after the hearing. So you're talking about a 12-week period, about a 3-month period from the time of the notice of default until it goes to sale. Now, we got this really weird thing, Peter, here in North Carolina called the 10-day upset period. Have
Okay.
you ever heard of a 10-day upset period?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's sort of strange. There's only about 10 states that have it. So the way that works is a property goes to sale at the courthouse steps, whether the bank bids and nobody else bids, or whether there's actually a bidder other than the bank. Now there's the bid. The winning bidder that day has to put up a 5% minimum deposit with their bid. Now the 10-day upset period starts. So from the day of the sale, 10 more days, calendar days, anybody can come in and upset the bid by at least 5% or more. But guess what? If somebody comes in and upsets the bid, guess what? The 10-day upset period starts all over.
Oh,
Now
really?
you've got another 10-day upset period. So that just keeps going until you got the last bidder that bids and nobody upsets their bid. So that story came up because we have a courthouse assistant that updates the files,
Yeah.
at all times.
Right now, since the market's so hot and prices are, a lot more volatile in the sense of they're always moving up, right? Do you have that more often? Do you see that more frequent, especially with that 10-day upset period where, I come in and I buy it, then you come in and, end up, taking it for 5% more and then on and on and on? Have you seen that more recently?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I would say, as far as the number of bidders or competition, it's about the same that it has been. Of course, if you win the bid, you got to have the cash and close in 2 weeks. So that's that. Like in the state of Florida, if you win the bid on the sale date, you got to have all the money that day
Yeah.
in Florida. But in here in North Carolina, you win the bid. Typically, it's about 2 weeks, but that's why private money is so important, even if you're bidding on foreclosures, because if you're the winning bidder, you got to close in 2 weeks. And of course, you either got to have all the cash or you got to have private money, because no traditional lender, hard money lender, institutional lender, most of them are not going to be able to close within 2 weeks.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge, right? Is making sure that those people can close at the end of the day, because ultimately, some people say they can close in the 2 weeks and they need, 3 to 4 to make it happen. So, for you, when you're doing off-market deals, I know you guys have a lot of pillars into place. W- are you guys doing any type of advertising on? You said Facebook ads, but are you doing any mailers? And what in your area hits the best?
Yeah. So I have 8 different channels, eight
Okay.
different strategies going on simultaneously to get consistent seller leads. Number one, Facebook ads, and we have 4 different ones that we rotate. The one that performs the best is just a picture of me holding a yellow "I buy houses" sign
Okay.
on
All
a
right.
Facebook ad that's just coming up in your news feed. And we have 2 different types of those ads. We have a distressed seller Facebook ad, and then we have what's called a pretty house ad. So primarily 2 are in rotation. On those Facebook leads, I need 15 of those leads on average to buy one house. But
Okay.
my cost is only
That's pretty
about
good.
$30 per lead. So I'm only spending like $450, $500 on Facebook ads to buy a house. That's like super cheap
Yeah.
when most real estate investors across the nation are investing $2,500 to $3,000 to buy one house. And of
Yes.
course, that's just an average. So Facebook ads. Secondly, Google ads.
Okay.
So I'm talking pay per click, pay
Yeah.
per click. Now on pay per click, I'm not going to get as many leads, right? The average lead cost on those is about $85 to $100, but I only need 5 of the Google ad leads in order to buy a house from. So the Google ad leads are higher quality, and that only makes sense because Google ads, pay per click, those sellers are looking for us
Oh
and
yeah.
instead of a Facebook ad, just coming up in your news feed.
Oh
So
yeah.
Facebook ads, Google ads, and then, as I mentioned, my foreclosure system. So my wife, Carol Joy, and I put this system together back in 2004. We've been tweaking it ever since.
Hmm.
We've got the 8-letter campaign. So things are now starting to open up. I'm buying foreclosures again. We're not quite at 25% of our business, but it's rising every month. In fact,
Okay.
I had 2 respondents today. So our foreclosure direct mail system. Now, just as a pro tip here, when we have a foreclosure and that foreclosure is an inherited property, if they don't respond to the letters, we go knock on the door because it's inherited property. You got
Hmm.
2 big motivations. Most of the time, the heirs are not that much interested in the property, so we have to knock on neighbors' doors. We have to skip trace to find the heirs. And one thing I learned years ago, Peter, the harder it is to find the owner, the more profitable the deal,
Oh
right?
really? All
Yes.
right.
So, and that's one case of it right there. So the foreclosure system. Then we have direct mail. I target primarily one group of one group of sellers for direct mail, and that is pre-probate.
Okay.
Pre-probate.
Okay.
We don't wait for a property to go into probate at the courthouse. Pre-probate means someone has died. Now there's heirs. Now we want to make ourselves available to assist even before it goes to probate, right?
Yes.
So that's a very, very targeted list. We have a very, very targeted direct mail system that's very, very soft. We do not send out just generic postcards or yellow letters like some people teach.
Yeah.
We want to connect with the people.
Yeah.
The number five channel is we have a part-time assistant that consistently is driving, looking for vacant houses,
Okay.
driving and looking for vacant houses. And of course, what's vacant last week may not be vacant this week, and what wasn't vacant last week may be vacant. Vacant houses, of course, are also a fantastic list in order to target direct mail. We also skip trace them and do outbound calling.
Oh
The
nice.
number 6 system is outbound calling. So we outbound call to absentee out of state owners, and we have a full-time virtual assistant that does those outbound calls and maintains our list for us as well. Another source that we have consistently is, since we're in a small area, we don't have that much competition show up, but once in a while, some guru will come to town an hour and a half away,
Yeah.
and all the newbies show up. And what are they taught? The only thing they're taught to do is put out bandit signs,
Yeah.
right?
That's true. Yeah.
So guess what? Guess what? We see new bandit signs show up. My personal assistant as driving around, you see a new bandit sign. What do? We call them up and we introduce ourselves to them. And we say, because we know they're wholesalers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's hardly anybody putting up a bandit sign that's got private money or all the cash. They're
Yeah.
wholesalers. So we call them up. We introduce ourselves. We say, hey, I'm Jay Connor. I just saw your sign over here on Hibbs Road. I was calling, tell me about your house buying business. Blah, 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 blah. And that is, even if they call you back, most
Yep.
of them don't even call you back.
No.
But when they call you back, you say, hey, I'm Jay Connor. I saw your sign. Tell me about your business, blah, 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 blah. And then here's what I say. I say, look, I've got a problem and I need your help. My problem is I got a lot of money in cash burning a hole in my pocket to buy houses.
They'd love to
And
hear that.
when you get a lead on a seller and you can't take down the property yourself, I am your buyer and I can close all cash in 7 days. And I am willing to pay you a bigger assignment fee, wholesaler fee than anybody else in the market. So
Yeah.
call me when you got somebody. But in the meantime, let's meet at Panera Bread this Saturday morning for coffee and get to know each other a little bit. You see, I can do that because only 2 or 3 new signs show up a month, right?
Yeah.
So we'll go meet them at Panera Bread, establish a relationship. And now I got somebody else paying for the marketing. They're sending me the leads and I don't pay any marketing on those deals until they got a real deal to give me.
Yeah. Do you get some deals from those people that come in and wholesale it? I mean, obviously, 10 come in and maybe one stays, but it's typically like 100 come in and one stays.
Yeah,
So
it's just every now and then. Anything that I get from a wholesaler, from a bandit sign, is a bonus.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That
That's a
is.
bonus.
Yeah. What would you say for you I mean, I know you got a lot of pillars into place because you need those pillars to continue down the path to be successful and continue to bring the deals in because, 1 month it may be mailers and the next month it may be a wholesaler and, the list goes on. What have you seen for your experience that's been the best through, the start in 2003 till now?
Oh, wow. Well, as you say, it's changed. I
Yeah.
mean, in 2003,
No internet.
there weren't any
or no
such
phone.
thing in my world as Facebook
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah. True.
There wasn't pay per click. So back in 2003, shoot, right on up to 2011, 2012. I mean, it was primarily direct mail and my foreclosure system.
Okay.
But right now, I close more deals off of Facebook ads, period.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah. I mean, here, that's a different story. Most of the leads, I work as a real estate agent in Orange County, California. And if you get some leads through through Facebook ads, they're typically, you're talking to them for 3 seconds and then you never talk to them again. So, but I know that's why I was curious because so many different parts of the country, are molded to those areas. And there's so many different, depending on your market, what's working and what's not. That's interesting to hear. And then there's a lot of wholesalers that are around me that do really, really well selling out, sending out a huge bulk in mailers. So that's huge as well.
Yeah, I've got a good friend in California, Southern California. I'm trying to remember. He just moved there, he and his wife and 2 kids.
Okay.
I just talked to him yesterday. Shoot, I'm drawing a blank on where he is. But my lands, he dropped 10,000 postcards less than a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I say postcards. I don't know if they were postcards or letters. Anyway, they're
Yeah.
probably postcards. He dropped 10,000 postcards in that market, and he's already closed on 3 deals and got 5 more still in negotiation. So even if he doesn't close with the 5, he spent $10,000, he spent $10,000 to get those 3, right?
Yeah.
Probably going to close at least 1 more. So he's spending $2,500 to get a deal. And the first one, he's profiting $80,000 on it. I mean, his price points where he is down there is not at all like Orange County.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
But anyway, so I mean, direct mail is working fantastic for him in Southern California.
Yeah. 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 No, for sure. And it definitely works. I've had people do, radio ads to you name it. So, for you, like moving forward, as you grew this business and consistently did flips, what was the hardest thing to build on the team, or a person to put into place, or the struggles as growing the business to be as successful as you are?
So really the struggles came along when I started doing enough business to where my 2 crews could not keep up.
Okay.
So then I had to expand out to add to what they were doing, and that's general contractors.
Got it.
And you can vet them, you can check them out, you can call references, but quite frankly, you really don't know what you got until you're in bed with a general contractor. So, I had to go through 3 general contractors before I found a really good one that I could depend on. So, that's just part of the business. Most people, if they're going to get into rehabbing, I mean, it all comes down to the relationship. Now, the best place to find general contractors, well, the worst place to find general contractors is on the internet and Angie's List and all the rest of those. The,
Yes.
the best place to find general contractors is by referral and asking around. I
Yeah.
mean, ask your realtor friends. Your
Hmm.
realtor friends, such as yourself, Peter, you will, if anybody's been in business long enough, they're going to have heard good stories about some general contractors, and they will have heard bad stories about general contractors.
Yeah.
Ask your real estate attorney.
Yes.
So, ask your people that are in escrow, right? Hey, here's a really good one to ask for referrals. Home inspectors.
That's true. Yeah.
Home inspectors are going to know who does good work, who
Hmm.
doesn't do good work. And listen, here's why the home inspector, here's a pro tip. Here's why a home inspector will refer a new real estate investor or a seasoned real estate investor looking to grow their business to good general contractors. And here's the answer. You call up the home inspection company and you say, after introducing yourself, I'm looking to establish a relationship with a home inspector that I can give all my home inspection business to, because I'm just not a one and done.
Yeah.
I am a real estate investor that is doing deals. I want to give all my business to one home inspector. Does that sound interesting to you? Are you backed up? Once that is established, then you can say, okay, I need your help. I need your help. Who can you refer me to as far as general contractors on rehabbing houses that you're probably going to be able to give me a good home inspection when he finishes? Because here's what I want to do, Mr. and Mrs. Home Inspector. When I buy a house, or right before I buy a house, I want you to do a home inspection for me, as is condition, because
Hmm.
I'm going to give your home inspection in the as is condition to my general contractor. But I want to give your home inspection to a good general contractor that is going to do a good job doing to that home what you have already found needs to be done.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good idea. I've never heard that where you would take that and hand that to the general contractor. You know what I mean? So, That's cool. That gives a little checks and balances, and then finding a contract. I feel like that's, a struggle that everybody's felt, where you feel like you have a good one, and they start bumping the fees and the costs up that they're charging you after maybe a couple of transactions that you do, or after a year or two they get a little more business and they start bumping up the costs anyways. But finding those good ones, and then once you find them, holding on to them and making sure that they're satisfied and they're taken care of, so you don't run into an issue where they feel jaded or taken advantage of, and ultimately you lose their trust. That's a huge thing I've seen too, is where people get into some type of disagreement on some very small thing that ultimately could be fixed, and then they lose that contractor, which was a really good contractor for and then they spend another year going through multiple contractors trying to find another one.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, take care of your people. What I've discovered over all these years, Peter, is this is a relationship business. It's a relationships with your private lenders. It's relationship with your realtor. Hey, Peter, I've had the same realtor doing all my CMAs, making all my offers in MLS, putting all my listings in the multiple listing service since 2004. Since
There you go.
2004.
Yeah.
Same one, same one. You know, relationship with your real estate attorney. I know you're in a state where your closing agents are typically escrow or title companies,
Yeah.
but when I'm using private money, I still want my real estate attorney to prepare the closing documents, because my private lender isn't going to prepare a closing package, right?
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
real estate attorney prepares the closing package, sends it over to the title or escrow company for closing. But it's all relationships. And, just one other pro tip: no matter how good my relationship is with my general contractors, I do not pay the final draw until not only myself, but also my realtor that's been with me since 2004 walks through the house and does his final check and final punch list.
Okay.
And my contractors know that. I mean, don't give people surprises. We
Yeah.
agree on this is how we're going to work together. You'll get your final check when myself and my realtor goes through to do the final punch list. Final punch list is done, final check. But when they give me a draw request, of course, somebody does a walkthrough to verify the items that are being requested to be paid are done, and I pay them right there on the spot. So I tell my general contractors, when you're giving me a draw request, I need 1 week to do the walkthrough and get you paid. And we hold up to our agreement. And so they know that the draw request is put in, they're going to get paid on a timely basis.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that goes really far. I work with some contractors that they do one bulk payment or something like that, where when you have something lined out, once you get that contractor in there and you say, hey, I'll pay you when you complete this work on a biweekly basis or whatever is agreed upon in that contract, and then you show up and you say, hey, I'm going to do an inspection to make sure everything's complete, because ultimately, if they don't have the work done, just like anybody, if you don't have the work done on the home sale, on the title report, on, escrow here or anywhere else, then you're not going to get paid. So,
Correct.
yeah, that checks and balances too there is key, 100%. And for you guys, running through a down market, right? You guys went through a down market, and going through that challenging time, how were you guys able to prevail and then be good through that time?
Excellent question, Peter. And that's where the biggest blessing in disguise happened in my business. So from 2003 to 2009, I relied on local banks, mortgage companies to fund our deals. And I remember it, Peter, just like it was yesterday. I picked up the telephone, I called my banker. I had been doing business with the same banker those first 6 years. And I told him, his name was Steve. I said, I got 2 houses under contract told them where they were located. Peter, these two houses accounted for over $100,000 in profit by the time I got them fixed and ready to go.
Yeah.
I had this conversation, Peter, with my banker many, many times during those first 6 years. And my banker went quiet on me on the other end of the phone, when it's never a good sign when your banker goes quiet. It's like, hey, Steve, are you there? He finally cleared his throat. He says, yeah, Jay, and I got bad news. I said, what? He said, you no longer have a line of credit at the bank. And I said, what do you mean? Steve? We've been doing business for 6 years. Why are you not able to fund these two deals? They meet the criteria and everything. He says, well, this bank has just decided that we're no longer loaning money out to real estate investors. So, Peter, you may recall, your viewers and listeners may recall what was going on in 2007, 2008, 2009. I mean, the world was falling apart.
Oh, yeah.
Foreclosures rampant. You had all those people that should not have been given a mortgage, and now it's somebody's got to pay the piper. And so my first thought when my banker said, you don't have a line of credit, my first thought was, I sure wish I had known that before I put two houses under contract. And back then I couldn't get earnest money back in 2009. My second thought was, what in the world am I going to do? So I sat there for a minute. I picked up the phone and I called my buddy Jeff, who lived in Greensboro, North Carolina at the time. He was a real estate investor. I told Jeff what had just happened. He said, well, welcome to the club, Jay. I said, what club? He said, the club of having no lines of credit at the bank for your real estate deals. I said, well, what are we going to do? Jeff introduced me to a phrase I had never heard before: private money, private lending. I'd never heard of it. He also told me about self-directed IRAs, which is a big part of getting private money, self-directed IRAs. And so I hung up the phone. I did some fast research, and I put my own private money, private lending program together to teach other people that I knew and had some kind of relationship with as to what private money was and what self-directed IRAs were. In less than 90 days, I attracted $2,150,000 in private money, private funding that I did not have. And you know what, Peter? That was a blessing in disguise, because the bank cut me off, and now I had to find a better way to get funding for my deals. And I'm not talking hard money. I'm talking about doing business with individuals to fund your deals. So how did I survive that downturn in the market? I'll tell you how I survived. Because of private money. And Carol Joy and I right now have got 44 private lenders funding our deals.
That's huge.
Your people don't need 44 private lenders. 2 or 3 good to get you started, right?
Yeah.
But because of that private money, and I've been using it ever since. I got about $8 million right now that we move from project to project to project to project. Because of private money, guess why my business tripled. I netted over $1 million in 2009 when the market had gone to pot. Here's why. You had all those foreclosures, all those short sales hitting the market, but you had to have the cash in order to buy those foreclosures and short sales. Well, my lands, your banker will give you an umbrella when the sun is shining, right? And so I'm not relying on the banks. I had all this private money. So now I could pick and choose and buy bank-owned properties, foreclosures, short sales with all this private money. And I did not miss out on a single deal for not having the money. And I'll tell you what, Peter, since that time, since 2009, I've never missed out on a deal because I did not have the money for the deal.
So Jay, you bring up a couple of points there, and that's a huge, well, for one, resourcefulness of yourself to when everything's collapsing, grab, hard money, or not hard money, but private money, pardon me, and get the private money from investors that are willing to put it somewhere, especially in the hard times, right? Especially how did you talk to those people and say, hey, I got these real estate deals. Real estate's crashing. So, I mean, at that point, how were you able to have those conversations and find those people that had the trust in you to take their money and go invest it in the real estate market when it was going down?
Absolutely. So there's three categories primarily of private lenders. Where are these private lenders? Number one category is what I call your warm market. People that you've got some kind of relationship with, they're in your cell phone, they're on your email list, they are Facebook friends, and I don't mean your fake Facebook friends, but people you actually know, your LinkedIn connections. So that's one category. The second category is what I call your expanded warm market. I have coaching clients that tell me all the time, well, all my people are broke. I don't know anybody with money. Well, first of all, I don't believe them, but whether that's true or not, I teach how to go where the money is if it's not in your warm market, because I say the more money you waller in, the more money sticks to you. So I teach how to expand your warm market, get involved in the community. Business Networking International has given me millions of dollars in private money. Get involved in the Civic Club, Rotary Club, Chamber of Commerce, church, any of those social networks. And the third category are existing private lenders that are already loaning money out to real estate investors. So I don't have time, or you don't have time for me to go into detail on how do you reach the existing private lenders? How do you expand your warm market? So let's just start with your own warm market.
Yeah.
We got two different methods. All right. We got what's called the direct method, and then we have the indirect method. All right. So let's start with the direct method. In the direct method, I may call, first of all, first thing you do is make your list.
Yeah.
Who in your warm market are you going to contact? And by the way, this is all mindset. Listen, Peter, I have never asked anybody for money.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah. All right.
I've never asked anybody for money. So how do I have $8 million in funding all the time at my disposal without asking anybody for money? Here's the answer. I put on my teacher hat. I'm a teacher.
All right.
I teach people what private money is because they never heard of it.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is. And I teach them how to get their funds like totally safe and secure. So the first step really is putting your private lending program together. And the good news is, if you allow me at the end of this show, Peter, I'll give out a money guide that will teach your listeners exactly what my program is that they can duplicate. So how do you talk to them? How do you open it up? So the direct method is, so Peter, let's say you are a friend of mine, which now you are.
Yeah.
But let's say we've been friends for a while, right? And this conversation may be over the phone or in person. In any case, I might say, hey, Peter, I haven't talked to you in a little while. How's the kids doing? How's the golf game? Chit chat, whatever. Then I get right to it. I say, Peter, as you may or may not know, I'm investing in real estate these days, and I am now opening up my business to people that I know and trust in order to position my company to take advantage of the tidal wave of bank-owned properties that are just getting ready to come around the corner. And Peter, I have a program that may or may not be for you. I'm paying insane high rates of return safely and securely. But Peter, unless you answer yes to the following question, there's no need for me to give you any more information. And that question is, do you have investment capital or retirement funds that's not giving you a high rate of return safely and securely? That's what we call the direct question. That's the magic question. Do you have investment capital or retirement funds that's not giving you a high rate of return safely and securely? You shut up, you let them answer the question. Now, the problem with the direct method is that the majority of new people that are attracting private money are intimidated by asking that question.
Yeah.
They think in their mind, well, why would anybody tell me their personal business? And they're going to be thinking to themselves, well, that's none of your business. As if I've got investment capital or retirement funds not giving you a high rate of return safely and securely.
Yeah.
So then we have the indirect method, which is what my coaching clients and myself started out doing. Here's the indirect method. I'll give you a very, very quick story. Only lasts about 60 seconds. Here we go on the indirect method. True story. This was on a Wednesday night. I had just put my private lending program together that I would offer to potential private lenders. The interest rate, how they're protected, the length of the note, how they can get their money back in 90 days and all that stuff. So I got my program in my head. I walked into Bible study to church on a Wednesday night, and I walked up to a gentleman named Wayne. Now, Wayne, I had known him for some time. I walked up to him and I said, Wayne, I got something that I want to talk to you about confidentially after church. Have you got a few minutes to visit with me? He said, well, sure. So we sit down, we have the opening announcements, we have 2 songs, we have a prayer, we have Bible study, we have the invitation, we have the closing song, we have the closing prayer. Now, Wayne was on the other side of the auditorium in the church building, and I'm sitting over here next to Carol Joy. I look up, and Wayne is like making a small little trot to the back of the auditorium, running over to me. He comes over to me and he says, well, now, Brother Jay, what you got in mind? And I could tell right then Wayne had not heard anything about the Bible for the past hour. All he's been thinking about is what I want to talk to him about confidentially after church.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, well, Wayne, follow me on down here to the nursery and we'll shut the door and we'll talk privately. So Wayne follows me on down to the nursery and we shut the door. And I look at Wayne and here's what I say. I said, Wayne, you know everybody in this town. You have put a television in everybody's house. You've put a television in every hospital room. You see, Wayne was the original Zenith television dealer.
Okay.
And if for people that don't know what Zenith televisions are, that's before Walmart came to town, right?
Yeah.
You had to go to the Zenith television dealer to get your television.
Yeah.
So obviously Wayne was elderly. So I said, you know everybody, you put all these television, you're heavily involved in the Rotary Club. And Wayne, I need your help. Now there's the magic phrase. There's the magic phrase. I need your help, Wayne. You see, Wayne, I have now opened up my real estate investing business to people that I know and trust. And you know everybody. I have put a program together where people can get involved in real estate with me totally passively. I'm paying insane high rates of return. And when you run into somebody that's complaining about the pathetic returns and a certificate of deposit, or they're sick and tired of the volatility of the stock market, would you refer them to me and I'll tell them about my program? What do you think Wayne said?
Oh, yeah.
Wayne said, well, now, Brother Jay, what you got in mind there? And I said, you talking about the interest rates? He said, yeah. I said, well, the interest rate, depends on the deal, but are you saying, Wayne, that you might be possibly interested? He said, well, yeah. I said, well, why is that? He says, well, our CDs are only paying 3%. You could actually get 3% back in 2009.
Okay.
Right now it's 0.17%.
Yeah.
And he says, and we're losing money in the stock market, and we don't want to try to live through another correction. And so, we're getting like 3%. And I said, well, Wayne, what sounds high to you? He says, well, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6%. I said, Wayne, I can't pay you 5 or 6%, but I can pay you 8%. He said, put me down for $250,000. So by asking for help and to spread the word on my private lending program, now you see, I didn't ask anybody for money. I asked them for help to spread the word, and now they're chasing me. So I did sit down the next day with him and his wife, and I went over my private lending program. And that $250,000 in private money quickly became 500,000. And then after that, it quickly became $1 million, because you see, private lenders always have more money than they tell you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, that's good. I mean, doing that and being able to have the conversation, especially with like, hey, Wayne, hey, Jay, do you have someone that you know that would be interested in investing in this? It kind of gives people the relief of not saying, hey, Jay, would you be willing to invest in this? Because it's a side question, ultimately drags, pulls people in by,
Yeah.
them being interested.
Right. And here's one more pro tip, Peter. It's all comes back to mindset. You see, a big reason that I've never asked people for money is because when I am talking to a new potential private lender, I never, on my lands, this is so important, I never bring or teach my private lending program and in the same conversation talk about a deal that I need funding. I'm already sounding desperate, you
Yeah.
know? Oh, please fund my deal. Please fund my deal.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I teach the program because the money comes first. And listen, Peter, them people that tell you, oh, go get the deal under contract, the money will find you. They're smoking dope, man. It's like they say the money will show up. What's it going to do? Rain out of clouds?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
Right. Get the money lined up first. So when I am teaching or bringing my private lending program to a new potential private lender, or I put on private lender events and private lender luncheons, I only teach the program, you see,
Hmm.
and never a deal. Never a deal. And by the time I get to the end of the conversation or the PowerPoint presentation or whatever the venue is, now they're chasing me.
Yeah.
They say, well, what do I do to get started? Just write you a check? No, you don't write me any checks. I don't borrow any unsecured money. We cannot do business. That's called the takeaway. We cannot do business until I have a deal for you to fund. Okay, well, let's go do a deal. Now, next is very, very important. I have never called up one of my private lenders and pitched a deal. I've never called up one of my private lenders and asked them if they want to do this deal. That's the most stupid question I could ask them. Here's the conversation. They've already told me how much money they got to work with. If they needed to move their retirement funds to a self-directed IRA, that's already been done. Boom, they're sitting there ready to go, biting at the bit. Greed glands are swelled up. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
So I call them up ASAP. Don't wait too long. I'll call them up, and here's my conversation. Call them up, little chit chat, and here's exactly what I say. I say, Peter, you're my private lender.
All
Say,
right.
Peter, I have got fantastic news for you. I can now put your money to work. I got a house over in Newport. The after repaired value is $200,000. The funding required for the deal is only $150,000, and I need your funds wired to my closing agent by next Thursday.
Okay.
End of conversation.
Yeah.
That's it. I
Yeah.
mean, they've been waiting for the phone call. I didn't try to sell them on the deal because here, I'm not bringing them a deal that doesn't fit the criteria of the program.
Yeah.
They already know the program. They know I'm not going to borrow more than 75% of the after repaired value. I didn't say 75% of purchase price.
Yeah.
I said 75% of the after repaired value. So they know I am bringing them a deal for them to fund that fits the criteria of the program. And boom, they're ready to go. They
Yeah.
wire
That's
the
huge.
funds and that's it.
That's huge. Yeah. I mean, having it relaxes people, more and gives them, the opportunity to invest. So that's huge. That's
Yeah.
huge.
I mean, it's like I'm not chasing anybody. I come from the space of a servant's heart. I'm
Yeah.
really helping these people. They need me more than I need them because there's more private money out there than I can use.
Yeah.
So I got to pick and choose who gets the next deal funded.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. That is true, especially with 8 million. Um, well, hey Jay, I'm going to transition a little bit after those solid stories. One, I always ask guests, is there a book that you've read over the past few years, or over the course of you doing real estate, that's really helped you out with business?
In real estate,
In real estate or business, either one.
in business. I got to tell you, Peter, the best book, hands down, best book I ever read was Getting My Mind Straight.
Okay.
No, regardless of what business you're in, but you got to you got to own the real estate between your ears
Yes.
before you can really own the real estate out there. And here it is, hands down, University of Success by Og Mandino. It's just as relevant today as it was in 1984 when it was first published. It has been updated now, but University of Success, every chapter is written by a different mindset, personal development, or business expert. And each chapter and semester, that's why it's called the University of Success, builds on itself. Each chapter is only 3 to 4 pages long. And I encourage you, don't do the book by yourself. Get a buddy and get the book, and you all read one chapter at a time together and get back together and discuss that chapter as to how it helped you. And I'm telling you, that book turned my whole mindset around from scarcity to abundance.
Okay. All right. Cool. I've never heard of that one, so I'll definitely pick that one up. And then I'll read it. In like a little pod, and I talk to a couple of guys every week about real estate and stuff. So I'll get it for all of them, and we'll kind of walk through it. That's cool.
I'm telling you, even if you're like already super successful, you'll get nuggets out of there that will change your life.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I'll add that. Thank you so much. And then is there, since you're running a little small team, but you've been very successful with that small team, is there any type of online resource or app that you guys use to be more efficient in your business?
Wow, there's more than one of them.
All right. All right.
So, yeah, so I have found, in my opinion, the very best CRM, customer relationship management software.
Uh-huh.
It keeps up with all your buyers. It keeps up with all your sellers. It's got automated follow-up. I mean, it's like if you've got a team, everybody communicates on the team. And so it's very little known. It was specifically written by a friend of mine. Her name is Marla Jones, and it's written specifically for real estate investors. All right. So it's reisoftware.com, reisoftware.com. And to really get in, because she's just running a small boutique there, Peter,
Mm-hmm.
if you will send either myself or Linda, my assistant, an email asking for a contact at REI Software,
Yeah.
we'll put you in contact with that contact so you can really get the VIP service.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you, switching wherever you're keeping up with all your stuff now, they have a done for you service that makes it seamless on moving all your records over. But it's the best customer relationship management program I've used, and I have used many over the years.
Gotcha. Okay. And then for you, I know you mentioned the book, or the free guide. So talk about that, and then where can people find out more about you?
Absolutely. So, as you all know now, Peter, as you know now, I'm very passionate about private money. It's changed, transformed our business to not miss out on any deals. And I know, Peter, there's just so many real estate investors out there that struggle. They just struggle
Yeah.
to come up with private money. And it's hard to come
Hmm.
up with private money unless you know what to do and how to keep it simple. Within just the last month, Peter, I have written a resource. It's called the Money Guide. And this, I want to get in all the hands of your people that want an easy way to get private money fast. So I just finished writing this guide. It's downloadable on a PDF. It's called 7 Reasons Why Private Money Will Skyrocket Your Real Estate Business and Help You Build Incredible Wealth. They can get it at www.jayconner, JayConner, I'm an ER, not an OR, JayConner.com/money guide, jayconner.com/money guide. And it will get, Peter, your people on the fast track to getting a lot of private money very, very fast.
Okay, perfect. I wrote that down too, so I'll put that in the show notes. That's huge.
Excellent. And again, folks, it's not hard money. In this world of private money, we can close in 7 days. There's no origination fees. And in this world of private money, you take no money to the closing table and you always pick up a big check.
That's
You
always
always
good.
pick up a big check. I mean, who wants to buy houses with no money down and get a big check when you buy?
Yeah, everybody does. Everybody does. Well, Jay, this has been awesome, and you had some really good stories. So they're entertaining. I know my guests will like it. So, or my audience will like it. So I appreciate you, and thanks so much for your time.
Peter, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. And just thank you so much for allowing me to share my passion about private money.
Yeah, of course. You have a good day.
You do too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.